I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years. After he got a job at an apartment building, we decided to move into an apartment there because he would get a big discount on rent. A year or so after living there, he started to hate the job due to the stress of having an understaffed team and long working hours. I suggested that he look for a new job if he was unhappy there, but he continued to stick it out because of how good the rental discount was. Well, one day, he comes home in the middle of the workday and says he's taking the rest of the day off. 2 days go by and he still hasn't gone back to work. I ask him what's up and he says that he just needs to use up some extra days of PTO. The weekend comes and while out to dinner with friends, he gets a little drunk and basically reveals to me and 2 other friends at the table that he quit his job on the spot for good. On the way home, I ask him why he waited so long to tell me and why he would just quit cold turkey without a new job lined up, especially considering that his contract states that once he stops working at the apartment, we have to be moved out within 4 weeks. Plus at this point he owed me a couple $1,000s from shared expenses that he was catching up on. He said he was sick of working there and waited to tell me because he needed time to process it, but that he would figure out his work and our living situation. Fast forward a week later and we've applied for a new apartment. A few days later we get denied due to rental history. I call the screening company to ask why and they say that we have an outstanding balance at the current property we live at for last month's rent being late and now an open eviction filed because of it. I'm completely stunned because I send my portion of rent to my boyfriend every month and we pay on time. Turns out, my boyfriend hadn't paid the rent and got served the eviction notice one day while I wasn't home all before we had even applied to this new place. And didn't tell me about any of it. I paid off the outstanding balance so that he could get the eviction filing dismissed. Luckily, I was only listed as an occupant and not as a leaseholder, so the eviction wasn't on my record too. But I'm livid because not only did he omit important info from me again, but now that meant he couldn't apply to a new place with me since most places will automatically deny you with an eviction filing on your record. So now we had fewer apartment options since we'd only be applying with just my income instead of both of ours together. So a week before we needed to move out, I found a new place to apply to and with the help of my dad co-signing with me, I was able to get approved for it. I'm self-employed so it's hard for me to get approved by myself even though I make over 3 times the rent. It's been 2 months now and my boyfriend still is unemployed. I'm covering all the expenses and at this point he owes me almost $7,000 since I've been covering his half of the rent plus our other living expenses. He uses my car to deliver for Uber Eats, but it's just not enough since he also has student loans and other bills to pay. I just don't feel like he's doing everything he can to find a job and pay me back. And the lies he told are making it hard for me to trust him. It feels like his decisions were so impulsive and he didn't even stop to consider how they would affect me. And whenever I try to address it with him, he gets really defensive and says I need to understand that he needed to do what was best for him and his mental health at the time. Would you be able to trust your partner again after something like that? Is this something worth breaking up over? How long would you wait for your partner to get their shit together, or what would they need to do to make things right? My boyfriend quit his job, paid our rent late, got an eviction on his record, didn't tell me, and now owes me over $7,000. How do I get past this? M. Leak commented. Why get past it? Know that in a crisis he will sink your shared ship, without even giving you the courtesy of a heads up. Then he will lie about it for as long as he can manage to get away with it. In 7 months, he will spend every dollar of yours without a concern. You're turning to your parents to bail you out, cause he wouldn't even grab a bucket to keep you from sinking. Ask him to leave. Whatever he could conceivable do to make this right at this point, it needs to stop being done on your dime. Consortium 998 commented. This in a nutshell. I've worked some shitty jobs and stupid hours just so I can provide for my family and keep a roof over our heads and food on the table. He doesn't have that mindset, I'm afraid, and he'll sponge of you for as long as he can. And it'll be so much worse for you as time goes on. If you were to factor in having kids, then it'll be a nightmare. Personally, if I were you, I'd kick him to the curb before he drags you down with him. Plenty_map_515 responded. I'm a decade ahead of you, and I'm going through a divorce from a man like your boyfriend. It doesn't get better. He will just keep letting you bail him out and living above your means supporting him. That tally of what he owes will keep growing because he feels entitled to burden you if it is for his benefit. He could quit his job and still get his bills paid because he knows you will pay them. That you will fix the problems he creates. What actions did he take to secure an apartment in this other than ensuring an eviction on his record? Coffee JNKY commented. Please. This is not something you can just get past. He basically stole from you. He accepted your rent and then didn't pay it. This isn't just borrowing money which he'll need to pay back. He had no intention of telling you that he stole your money. You found out from a stranger. He is not trustworthy. He is not honest. He's not being your partner at all, but a parasite. He will just end up putting you further in debt because he will not be pulling his weight anytime soon. Not to mention that he never has, since he wasn't paying his part or your part of the rent you gave him. I have had that rent thing happen to me. Not by a partner but a roommate. It's a massive breach of trust and decency. You can do better by yourself. He doesn't tell you what he's going to do until it's too late, so you have to be reactive rather than proactive. It's an easy way to keep you off balance while doing what he wants. If you express the hardship this creates for you, he weapons that as not being supportive. He hasn't done anything to lessen expenses or increase income potential. If he did maintenance, it would be cake to post on local pages for side work that pay more and would be less wear and tear than making deliveries. Why isn't he picking up every job he can? Choose yourself. That's how you get past it. Trust me. Edited to correct to boyfriend. Here's hoping that corrects right on to ex-boyfriend. Just Communication 87 responded. Wait. You were notified of an eviction process because your BF didn't pay the rent, which you gave him your half. Then you pay the rent to stop the filing process, get your dad to co-sign to find a new apartment and you still let him move in? Why didn't you leave him back when you moved into the new place? He wasn't contributing then, he wasn't going to contribute to your new place either. What does he offer at this point? Cut your losses before he bleeds you financially dry. You'll find yourself in debt as well. Hike baby commented. He's a dud. Throw this one back. You can't be in a relationship with someone who steals from you, lies to you, and gets you evicted. You can't marry someone like that or have a family with him. This isn't going anywhere good. That money is gone. He does not have the money to pay you back. You may have to legally evict him, because it doesn't sound like he has anywhere to do. This is going to be a huge pain in the ass, but you can't hemorrhage any more money. Once he leaves you need to get a roommate. It sounds like your dad is willing to help you. Please talk to him. It's his money on the line too. I can guarantee you that he will find a job and figure his shit out when you aren't there to bail him out. This is not your problem.